Hi, my name is Randall Klein. I'm an early reading specialist from Bozeman, Montana. In this presentation, you will learn how to use the beginning sound cards. I use bingo style cards containing pictures of objects and animals that would be familiar to a 3 or 4-year-old child. Each card contains a key picture at the top, which indicates what beginning sound the student needs to find in other objects on the card. Be sure to choose game pieces that are safe for young children. Providing a choice of game pieces often gives added incentive to repeat this activity again and again. Different kinds of game pieces, or even just different colors of the same game piece, is reason enough for a child to want to do more. Our first objective is to model for the child the isolation of the beginning sound of spoken words. When the child demonstrates the ability to isolate beginning sounds, then this material provides independent practice leading to greater mastery and speed. When a child can isolate beginning sounds in spoken language, he is ready to understand the alphabetic principle, that letters represent sounds. If a child can isolate, identify, and say the beginning sound of bear, for example, he will understand in a concrete way the abstract symbol next to it. He can begin to understand how sounds of spoken language can map onto letters. So that's where we are really going with beginning sound cards, giving the child sufficient awareness of individual sounds in spoken language so that he can then understand the relationship between sound and symbol. The simplest way to work with the beginning sound cards is to play a bingo type game where the adult models beginning sound stories and the child is asked to repeat them. Some children may already be able to isolate beginning sounds, and this first activity will not be necessary. This first activity is ideal for small groups. Each child has a bingo card and some game pieces. The caller asks, "Who has b-ball?" And the child who has b-ball is instructed to put the game piece on the ball and repeat b-ball. Who has t-turtle? The children will quickly learn to put a game piece on the turtle and say t-turtle. It's important that you gently insist that the child say the sound story when he puts his game piece on the picture. This gives you the opportunity to hear how the child says the sounds. Be careful to speak each phoneme discreetly and clearly. The way the adult says these sounds is the way the child will say them in reading and writing activities. Do not add the schwa sound to consonants. If later a child reads this word, the, a, na, the sounds he blends together will tell him Vanna, Vanna White, Wheel of Fortune. So pay attention to how the child says each sound. The way a child performs his sounds can affect the accuracy of his decoding. When a child shows you he can isolate beginning sounds, we want him to practice that phonemic skill so that it becomes speedy and automatic. This will help him later as he learns the alphabet. Choose a card to show the child how to work independently. Start by putting a game piece on the key picture and then proceed to find other pictures that start with the same beginning sound. Be sure to let the child hear you forming the sounds as you complete the activity. B, buttons. B, bells. B, books. B, balloons. Now ask the child to choose a card and take a turn. Stay with the child to observe how he performs the activity. And rather than correct him if he makes a mistake, take another turn to review how it's done. Stick with the child as needed and refrain from giving him unnecessary help. Be sure to show the child where the material should be returned so others can use it. Have fun with the kids. I always do. This is Reese. He is working independently with the card that has wagon as the key word. Invite children like Reese to be the bingo caller for other children who are learning to isolate beginning sounds. but be sure the bingo caller, whether it's a child or an adult who is helping out for the day, is saying the sounds clearly and discreetly. Keep accurate records for each child. If you are a classroom teacher, you are accountable to know which children can, and more importantly, which children can't isolate beginning sounds. When a child can isolate beginning sounds, I can confidently introduce him to the alphabetic principle using the stand-up alphabet cards. I'll ask the child, "What is the beginning sound of bear?" She'll say B, and I'll point to the letter next to the bear and say, "That says B." "What is the beginning sound of cat?" She'll say K, and I'll say, "What does this letter say?" And she'll say K. Now think about the beginning sound of moose and tell me what this letter says. And of course she says M. The child's ability to isolate beginning sounds is the best foundation for learning the sounds of the alphabet. My motto is, we teach the alphabetic principle before we teach the alphabet. In my presentation on teaching the alphabet, I'll explain why teaching the letters in a sequence of clusters will help you lead children to solid alphabet mastery. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it to be helpful. For more information about effective early reading instruction, go to my website or contact me at this email address. See you next time on the road to early reading mastery. Please join me in giving the children of our communities learning environments that provide independence, hands-on learning, repetition, individualized instruction, and an easy-to-follow path that leads to early reading mastery. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to visit you in your school or classroom. When I do visit schools, I always request the opportunity to work with beginning and struggling readers so that I can model the methods and materials I have only barely begun to outline for you today. From Bozeman, Montana, USA, goodbye, thank you, and see you next time as we continue to explore the joys of giving young children early reading mastery.